You're either on the bus or you're off the bus.
Welcome aboard. It's episode 14 of Ridin the Bus, the official Iowa Wild podcast presented by Explore Minnesota. Ben Gislason here with Joey Goldstein, Benny G, and Joey G.
Yep.
And this is episode 14, and we're just chugging along now on these in-season podcasts, aren't we?
Yeah, that's what it's feeling like. I mean, it was like, I felt, it feels like a while since we last sat down, but between the last time we talked and we were talking with Mike to now, like it seems like it was last week. Things are going by very, very quickly. I mean, we are in, basically the middle of November, and before we know it, it's going to be the new year, and things just go by so fast once the season starts.
I had this epiphany this morning, and it happens every year, but I feel like it didn't happen this early to me last year. But it was that morning where you wake up and you're like, November 9th. You're kind of like,
yeah.
What?
Yep.
It just, and it can happen at any point in the year because the hockey season does do that, where just all of a sudden you look back and you blank in a month or 2 months the season goes by like that
It's
when you get at the end of it.
so quick.
Minus February. But
you don't think February goes by quick? That's like the dog days.
We'll save my just nasty, scathing feelings about the month of February in the hockey season for February.
Okay.
We'll get a full segment of just me hating on February.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All
it's
right.
brutal.
I'm here for
It's brutal.
Mental note, Marquise.
Yeah. So
keep that one in mind.
We'll save that for now. But episode 14, we have Ty Ronning's jersey behind us. And in just a few minutes, he'll be sitting right here on your screen.
Yep.
And he and I and Joey had a great chat. Really fun chat with him, who just is a guy that, and there have been some really terrific people that I've met through the Iowa Wild player-wise. Boy, though, he is up there with just being a tremendous human being,
Yep.
but also very personable and a good storyteller. And we had a really good chat here, and it was a great showcase of what I thought who he is as a person, but also we had some fun. We talked about some of his teammates and some fun stories. So it's really, really good stuff and fun to have a live guest, too.
Yeah, it's great to have a live guest. Our second live guest.
We'll get to that joke right at the beginning. Yep.
Our second live guest, but this is the first time we've had someone live, out of the locker room here to chat with us, and it's a new face for Wild fans. This is someone who's come in new this year, probably not super well known amongst the fan base, aside from the fact that he has been pretty hot as of late, scored a hat trick. But aside from that, I don't think people know too much about him. So it's nice to dig in a little bit, hear about growing up with a father who played over 1,000 games in the NHL and what that was like. This is a guy who has investment in giving back to the community, which is huge, especially for this organization. So to come in and be able to fit, almost immediately, you brought it up, but I think it was media day. He reached out. I think he said it to you. He mentioned it to me. He mentioned it to Joe Picardi, our community coordinator.
Everybody. He was just telling anybody and everybody.
Hey, I want to be involved in the community. I want to do things, and these are things that I like. He came to the hospital visit with us for our Halloween visit. He came dressed up as an astronaut. As soon as I had gotten back to my desk, I think it had been 20 minutes since I left Mercy and sat back down, and I already had a message from him being like, "Hey, that was awesome. Thank you so much for taking me." Like, just a good person. So I'm excited to be able to do more with him, throughout the year.
And last thing I'll say before we talk about Explore Minnesota and a few other things, showed up to the locker room, had all this set up. I walk in at like 3:10 for
we weren't supposed to be recording until 3:30.
3:30, he's here.
Yeah.
20 minutes early. Like, hey, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm sorry, we're not ready for you. No worries. But again, poignant. I just can't say enough about the way that this kid handles himself. But more from Ty Ronning later. Explore Minnesota, our proud sponsors. Not only do we have to share more about what Explore Minnesota wants our listeners to know about in the winter, but we have even more to talk about on this preamble to our guest, because we got some big news from Explore Minnesota.
Yeah, I'm going to roll up the sleeves for this one.
Yeah, okay, please do.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a lot of reading, and if you've been paying attention, sometimes not my strong suit. But we'll start, obviously, presented by, I know you're very excited, presented by Explore Minnesota. Dive into the wonder of the waters of Minnesota, from the birthplace of the mighty Mississippi to the superior scale of the Great Lakes. Tear a page out of the storybook and create your own dream vacation. Visit exploreminnesota.com to start planning memories that will last a lifetime. Now, that was not bad. Now,
not bad.
here's what we've got going on. We've got an Explore Minnesota sweepstakes. We did something very similar last year. This is kind of the first time. Well, it is not kind of. It is the first time that we're rolling out on a podcast because we didn't have a podcast last year.
Nope.
But last year was a Visit Mankato sweepstakes. This year it's a Visit Lakeville prize package.
South Metro, Burnsville, baby.
And I'm going to rifle through this. I mean, if you go to iowawild.com/sweeps, it'll take you to exactly what the package is. You can enter. I'll give you the rundown. Kind of here's how it works. Got to be 21 years or older to enter. Have to be an Iowa resident to win. But here's what you get, and it is lengthy. You get a Holiday Inn Suites of Lakeville gift certificate for a one-night stay in a standard 2-queen room. You get a Visit Lakeville welcome basket with a bottle of Lakeville's Wild Oaks Ranch wine and Masterpiece chocolates upon arrival. You get a $200 Lakeville Area Arts Center gift card. You get 4 $25 gift cards to the Better Half. You get 2 $100 gift cards to Barley and Vine Kitchen Bar. You get 2 all-day vouchers for 2 people to Buck Hill Ski and Snowboard Area.
Oh, Buck Hill.
Which is
I know Buck Hill. Lindsey Vaughn grew up skiing at Buck Hill, by the way.
Place where Olympians
that's true.
train.
That's true.
$50 gift card for Buck 54 Bar and Grill, which is located at the ski and snowboard area. 4 Elko Speedway tickets. $50 in Angry Inch Brewing gift card. 2 Gray Line Sightseeing Tour gift certificates for 2 people each for the Twin City Highlights Tour, which is a total of 4 people. And we're not done. And you get 2 signed Iowa Wild jerseys and 4 tickets to watch the Minnesota Wild play the Buffalo Sabres on Saturday, January 28th.
Wow, save the best for last there.
I mean,
holy smokes.
That's so much stuff that you can win. And all you got to do is go to iowawild.com/sweeps and just enter. And you got a chance to go home with some unreal stuff. A nice little getaway for people, too.
We should make people like the podcast or follow the podcast for it.
Yeah.
No, we're not.
We probably should have thought that through.
We're not that on top of it.
No. But maybe, you know what? But maybe next time.
Yeah,
but maybe next time.
So just for the record, you don't have to like the podcast and follow the podcast to win the sweepstakes.
But you should do that because you like me and Ben. So just do that because that helps us.
So to finish the sweepstakes, I do want to say, well done. That read was very good. But there's one problem. One problem. You read the fall read, and we were supposed to do winter reads.
I don't know that I have the winter read.
I have the winter reads, Joey.
So let's wrap it up with a winter read.
Experience the silence of falling snow or discover the magic of a live performance with friends in a historic venue. Warm memories forever frozen in time. Plan your dream trip or browse through endless events and activities happening throughout the entire state by visiting exploreminnesota.com.
All right. Well, I got 2 things. One, can you forward those to me? Because I need them.
I'll do it right now.
2, are we in winter time yet? Because I could argue that we could still make the fall reads happen. I probably read the wrong one. Nobody's really going.
Updated reads 11/14/22 to 3/13/23.
What's the date today as we record this is 11/9.
Yeah.
So I think we're both kind of right.
But when's the podcast going out?
11/15.
So
we're both kind of right. 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 It's okay. We're both.
I don't know. There you go. Now it's sent.
All right. Well, I'm glad I have that.
Now you have it.
I'll get them right.
And then you started reading it. I went, I'm gonna shove this right down his throat. After it gets done.
Whatever. I can't win.
Only in bets, which we'll get to later.
Yeah, we got a good
one coming up.
A little Easter egg. We got a great one.
Any more from us that we wanted to get to?
Let's talk about
the games.
As of
10
late,
points.
The Wild have been. It seems like they're starting to hit their stride a bit, and the goals are starting to flow. Things are opening up. I think there's still obviously work that needs to be done, kind of across the board. The one that kind of stood out to me. I know you mentioned it on the broadcast, but the penalty kill, which is usually a strong suit for this Tim Army team. Last year was the upper echelon in the league in terms of penalty kill percentage. Is this year it's kind of flip-flop. We're on the lower end trying to still still figure things out a little bit. And for a little while in Rockford last weekend, we thought that was going to be the thing that kind of hurt us in that game, which, though it did, we ended up overcoming that and getting the victory, and which was one of the best hockey games I've watched in a very long time, with some crazy things that happened in it as well. But the team's playing well. Like you said, 7 to 10 points is unbelievable, and that's huge going into some big games coming up here.
Yeah, full disclosure, recording this, as you said, 11-9. This will end up going out next week. So there will be 2 games that we can't talk about right now on the podcast, Milwaukee and Chicago. In Milwaukee and Chicago this weekend. Milwaukee, they're on quite a heater. They've won 7 in a row. So a big matchup for the Wild, but they are playing really well. 7 out of the last 10 available points the Wild have secured. And I keep coming back to it. A team that is so young, you wanted to get through the first month without going like, oh boy, like we have 1 win and we've lost 6 times in regulation. We have 1 point. Yeah. And this team really got through the month of October with so many new faces. I mean, I think to that first night where there was a few moments I was just like, they look like they have no clue what's going on right now because they didn't, because it's a bunch of 19 and 20
There's a lot of new faces
together. The growth that we've seen to the most recent game in Rockford to that night 1, there were stretches that it doesn't even look like the same team playing. Like they're learning very, very fast.
There's been injuries too that we've had to overcome, so a lot of guys are getting into the lineup and getting chances to play, so that helps team chemistry too. But now guys are trying to get healthy again. And I immediately think, I texted you a couple times throughout the broadcast. I think at one point I was just blowing up your phone, and I obviously wasn't getting anything back.
It was just like this, and I just
it was just nonstop.
I saw Joey, and I went, okay, we're going to turn over.
Because the minute you texted me one thing, I was like, oh, he's on his phone. And I just rifled off some of my thoughts. I thought, Nick Patan, we haven't seen in a couple weeks. He was outstanding in Rockford. Outstanding.
It's just he was the best player on the ice for sure. He quite literally willed that the tying goal to Chafee. I still don't know if he
dumped the puck in, chased it down.
Yeah, and he was flying on that forecheck. He gets in, he breaks up the breakout, he gets in, he ties the puck up, and I don't know if he kicked it out or somebody else kicked it out, but he was a tour de force performer in that game. I was just, and not that he didn't do some things those opening 2 games. He only played part of game 2 opening weekend, then he got hurt. But that was a different level. It was maybe a guy who hadn't played in a month and was like, I'm sick of this. I want to go out and do something, and had 2, if not 3 assists. I may have ended up being 3. They might have called that one back at the game tire because there was a lot of bodies down there carving that puck off the wall. He was in the middle of it too. And then scores that just beautiful game winner in the shootout.
Little off speed.
Chip. Oh, yeah. Pulled the string. Pulled the string and threw a changeup. But really good performance from him. And the overarching thing that I think about too with this team is think about the resiliency that they've demonstrated through the opening month. They roar back from 3 down against San Jose. They come back against Rockford most recently, 2 goals down in the final 2 minutes of the game. They have come from behind already a lot in this season. Now, Tim Army will tell you he doesn't want his team to get used to playing from behind.
I think any coach would say that. Yeah.
But the fact that you know that you've got that in your room if you need it, that's a really good card to all of a sudden say, let me just slide that into my hand here and know that this team does have the gumption to say, 3 goals, all right, that's fine. We're okay. There are teams in the American Hockey League that won't be able to do that this year. That's just the nature of the game. There are teams that don't have it in them. And it seems like this Wild team does. And to me, that is such a healthy thing to learn about your team this early in the year. Now can you learn how to get up in a game and then hold a lead? Because you don't see a lot of teams make their bread and butter that go win championships because they were never out of a game. All they did was ever come back. And from 1 goal deficits maybe, but you can't be spotting teams 3 goals in this league regularly. You can't be down 2 in the final 2 minutes regularly, I think, and be a successful team. But to me, the great success that has been had in the opening month of the season for the Wild is you've got 2 shootout losses, an overtime loss in there. Half of your losses you got points out of.
Yeah, things very quickly can go the other way. You know what I mean? Those can be, instead of 1 point, we could have a bunch of 2-point wins, and very quickly changes things. So
if even 2 of those losses in the shootout or the overtime loss to Grand Rapids, which by the way was one of the another was talk about strange. That was really strange.
That was something.
With a delay of game penalty to Hickett's, but if 2 of those 3 go the other way, that's an extra 4 points. You're all of a sudden in like 3rd maybe in the division, which again, like the Wild are right in the midst of it right now. They are win or two.
It's too early to say like, someone's
2.
out. They're not out of it. And I think what helps too, we talked about the team scoring goals. The guys you're kind of counting on to start producing, Mitchell Chafee is starting to heat up, which is
he's
huge.
Got 4 in his last 3 games.
Yeah, that's
Beckman
big.
was scoring before he goes up.
Beckman's great. Sammy Walker is in the top 3, top 5 for AHL rookie scoring.
3, yep.
And then you got Ty Ronning who's caught fire as well. So you're getting support from kind of a couple different areas, which is huge.
And I'll always go back to it, goaltending. Zane McIntyre just doing what he always does, just going out and saying, you're going to have a chance to win tonight. That's literally what he does every single game, which is all you can ask for from your goalie. And Volstead, who must be thinking, why can't I just have a regulation game happen to me at this point, having all 3 of the games he started in go to overtime or a shootout.
Yeah.
But I left the month very optimistic about this team, and I'm not just saying that because I'm sitting here wearing the Wild logo. I've said that in off-camera scenarios, too, with people that would have no reason to believe me if I was saying, or to not believe me if I was saying that. I would tell them otherwise if I didn't in some of my private conversations. But this is a team that has the makings, I think, of being a very good club. And I will keep saying it the rest of the season. I think every weekend, not that your team won't have some lapses, but with how this team is, and also what I'm learning, how well they get along in the room, it's a really, really cohesive group. And last year's was that, but this year it seems to maybe be even a little more so, and there isn't the pocket here or the click here.
Right.
And not that last year's team was clicky, but this team to me feels a little bit more like you go to the airport and you see the whole team's eating at the same place, or the whole team has got food and they're sitting at the same table waiting for the plane. I don't remember seeing that as much last year, and so that's a really reassuring thing to me. I'm excited about what November has to bring, or what December has to bring, as we're, again, like bringing back to the joke, looking up and seeing November 9th. We're already almost midway through the month, but this will be a big test for Iowa as they move through this month. A lot of road games, some good teams
these
in
games,
there. Milwaukee,
these,
Colorado,
we got 3
San Jose again.
Of our next, what is it, our next 4, 3 of them are against Milwaukee, I think. So, like, that's a really I don't want to say it's, I mean, it kind of is a benchmark kind of test for you to see where you're at with those 3 games. So.
So very, very, very big waters ahead for the Wild, but they're moving in the direction as well as they could be right now for sure. And a big part of that was Ty Ronning, and I think it's time we hear from him.
Agreed.
Without any further ado, the man of the hour, Ty Ronning, the hat-trick hero from Thursday morning school day game here at Wells Fargo Arena. Let's head to period 2. Moving along to the second period of episode 14 of Ridin the Bus, the official Iowa Wild podcast. It's our privilege to introduce to our fans Iowa Wild winger and the hat-trick hero from a few games back. Ty Ronning is with us live in studio, in the locker room, whatever you want to call it. Ty, it's great to be here. Great to be with you, and thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
This is a big deal. This is our first live guest. Right?
Incorrect. We had Allie Brown over the offseason.
You're right.
Yep.
I'm sorry.
Yep. I had to just slam that right
You're
there.
right.
Yeah,
You're
really
right.
good start.
Yeah.
Nice start.
Yeah. It's okay.
I'm going to let you pick it up by you can ask the first question, the question we always start with, to pick up the pieces there.
Yep. So this is the Ridin the Bus podcast. We ask everybody this question except for one when Ben forgot. That's okay.
Right back at me.
That's okay. That's okay. The whole point of the podcast is to, act like you're sitting next to someone on the bus.
Okay.
Going to and from, keep it casual. What is, do you have a story that comes to mind that you can think of from your time riding the bus, whether it's been here in Iowa so far, your time in Hartford, maybe your time in Vancouver, anything that comes to mind?
To be honest, I don't got much for a bus story. Just some good old movies on the bus, some card games, some heated card games here and there, a little bit in Hartford with Anthony Greco and Tanner Fritz. But overall, nothing too crazy that I kind of remember.
All right, well, how about this? What's something that's maybe some bus etiquette that people should know about? I know we've talked about some of the basic ones where, vets in the back, rookies in the front, but what's something else that maybe people may not know?
Yeah, they usually, from what I've understood through my pro career, it's usually go by, rookies in the front, and then you kind of work your way up with how many games you have, and usually the old guys in the back with the most games, and then Etiquette-wise, usually the older guys get to pick the movies as well. The rookies make the purchase, and the old guys get to pick out of the selection. So, our last bus trip up to Rockford, the boys had some tough decisions to make with the movies. So I think we're going to have a whole new set of movies come in for Milwaukee.
What were the concerns with the movies on the way? Like, what's a good bus movie? Because it's
straight comedy.
Sometimes there are great movies that just aren't good bus movies, right?
Yeah, I think straight comedy. Anything Will Ferrell, Adam Sandler are always good. We had the grown-ups going on. We also had James Bond. That was a decent movie. But sometimes action movies, when it's getting late in the night and it's say you're coming back, it's 1 a.m. and you got gunfire going off and explosions. It's just like kind of like tough. It can be a little tough. So. Well,
not to mention that, but I had not seen the ending of, I think it was No Time to Die. I'd not seen the end of it, and so we got to the part where I was watching anew, and I had to like stand up and put my ear next to the speaker because I couldn't hear what was going on. I'm like, hey, shut up. I'm like telling people to be quiet. They're like, what do you mean? And so that's what there are great movies that just don't translate to the bus. And unfortunately, I think that might have been one of them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we had that on that exact movie on last time. So it was out of the selection, that was the pick. Comedy is usually the go-to.
So I do want to revert back. You mentioned cards on the bus. I love asking about cards on the bus, and you gave me a nugget that I want to dive into.
Okay.
And I know these are friends and former teammates, so if you don't want to totally lay into them, I get it. But you brought up some really heated card games. What can you tell us about these heated card games, and maybe can you give us a play-by-play of why things got so heated and what the situation was?
Yeah, I mean, we don't play for a lot of money. We're not playing for crazy $100 here and there. It's 25 cents, certain ticks on the board, and it adds up. You win about, I don't know, $12 from one guy and $10 from the other guy. It's nothing crazy. But I mean, if you're dealing and you miss deal, things can get a little out of hand and they're screaming on the bus. I'm one of those guys. Sometimes I'm shuffling and the cards kind of go everywhere over a bump or something, but. I mean, it's just a fun time to kind of kill some time on the bus, as it can get into long road trips.
You guys have like a card table that you guys use? I know, 'cause we went to Minnesota for a game last year, and remember we were making our own. We made our own table out of literally anything we could find.
Cases of beer.
Yeah,
it was a case of beer that with like duct tape.
It was not a pretty table, but it worked.
Yeah,
and trying to teach people, we were playing euchre and trying to teach people how that worked. It was an adventure.
Yeah, no, we had in Hartford we had a little a table. I don't know who built it, but it was actually well made. A little felt, had the team logo on it, and I think it's just a piece of wood that was fit right on the sides of the rests, and it was long and it worked well. Here we actually haven't thrown the table on. I think it's a little bit too big for the aisle, but I think we'll be getting something going on those bigger bus trips.
It is made. I've seen it. I don't think it has the logo on it, but it is felt on the top, and it's got some cup holders. I believe Zane McIntyre crafted it on his own last year, if I remember correctly. So it does exist. No, that's great. Yeah, cards on the bus, an enjoyable lot. You could spend a whole podcast talking about cards on the bus with certain people, I think. Ty, this new team for you, your third professional team, you count the Maine Mariners in there as well, but second American Hockey League team. You started with Hartford. Have you figured out if you had to give a class clown award on this Wild team, maybe who's the guy that comes to mind?
See, I wouldn't use the term class clown. I would use the term glue guy. Someone that's a dressing room guy that, everyone wants to listen to, and they've got thousands of stories, and that's easy pick. That's Joseph Cramarosa. Just the way he can tell stories. He's got a real skill for that, and he's a glue guy in the dressing room, and it's fun to be around. Even on the bus, it's just all around good guy, good stories, and good talks.
Who's the most serious teammate in the Iowa Wild locker room?
Serious teammate. Stephen Fogarty's always has that serious persona. He's always dialed in. Even in practices, he does have a witty, funny, personality at times that comes out. But when it's time to come to the rink, he's here to work, and that's something as a leader it really comes out of him, and you can see why he's a captain on this team.
How about the loudest? I think I know the answer, but we'll see what
it's
yours
always
is.
unanimous for the most part.
Loudest. I mean, Becky's pretty loud, but that's just who he is. He's a really fun guy to be around. He's always got something to say, and he's not afraid to say it. And he's just being himself, and that's what we like.
Where do you think you fit in to a role in the room? On the ice, we can talk about that, and we'll get to that. But where do you see yourself fitting, and maybe where do you think the other guys see that you fit in?
I don't know. I mean, it's my whole, for me coming into a new team, it's a whole new experience. So I don't really know how I would fit in. I was just try to be myself. I can be loud at times, and I can also be quiet and serious at times, and I'm a mix in between. I don't really know what I would say as I come across, but I think I'm a mix between loud and quiet. Hopefully a good mix.
Let's throw someone under the bus here real quick. So first, who's got the best style on the team? Then who's someone that we gotta revamp your wardrobe a little bit.
Best style. Nick Patan's always got good style. Schuster's always got really good style. He actually brings around a camera. He's a big into photography. He's got I think it's like a $5,000 camera, really beautiful, and it's black and white film, and it's really, really well done. He does a great job. He'll come around and just kind of take some pictures here and there. Who's got the bad style? Who's got good style too is Michael Lear. I got to give a shout out to Lears. But bad style, See, I don't know. I don't know who I can throw under the bus for bad style.
Not necessarily throwing one under the bus, but just
everybody.
Someone who's just gotta tweak their wardrobe a little bit. It could be Ben, and it could be anybody.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Ben's looking sharp. Ben's got the tailored
chance.
suits. He rolls up. He's looking sharp for game time.
Nice try, Joey. Nice try.
I'm just trying to give him an out. I don't know.
Let's think here. We could just give it to Adam Beckman. I mean, that's the easy out.
Tough pod for Beck.
But tough style, but great person.
All right, there it is. We can put that as his Instagram bio.
Yeah.
Tough style, great person. Adam Beckman.
Yeah, we should get him to change that.
Pre-game routine. Everybody's got a different one. Everybody's got something they do that's unique. Anything that you do that's unique, or is it pretty standard what your pre-game routine is?
Yeah, routine. I like to do a little bit of a visualization, meditation kind of before the game. Just kind of, get into rhythm of breathing and kind of picture myself on the ice, kind of making plays, and kind of channel some good energy that way. Kind of puts myself in the right headspace and mindset to kind of go out and perform. So I kind of do that before games and even sometimes before practices as well.
We're going to get into on-ice stuff earlier in your career. I want to talk about some most recent times in your career, specifically a terrific hat-trick performance in a school day game in front of 9,000 screaming kids where not one single hat went on.
I wanted to ask about that.
Has this ever happened to you where you've scored a hat trick and not seen it, or a teammate has scored a hat trick and you've not seen a hat? Because I've never seen anything like that.
Yeah, it was a little different. It was my first hat trick. I was pretty grateful to get that. Pucks were just following me, and they were going in, so I'll take it. But I was actually giving some crap to Wally on the bench because he was backing up that night, and he just sat on the bench, and he's got his hat. I'm like, "Where's your hat? Throw the hat on the ice. What the hell?" He goes, "I've just never seen a natural hat trick. I've never seen it." I was in awe. I was like, "Oh, okay, fair enough."
I was in awe.
Yeah, but it was a kids game. Kids were screaming and they were loud, and it was a lot of fun, regardless of hats or no hats.
Do you think that'll be something if you ever tell this story to kids or younger people later on, you'll say, yeah, my first pro hat trick, there wasn't a single hat that came on the ice? Or were you kind of like, damn it, where were my hats?
No, I mean, I was just happy to kind of be a part of a good win. I wasn't really too worried about the hats. When I got to the bench, I kind of looked around. I was like, oh, there is no hats. Like, Wally, what about your hat? Why don't you throw your hat on there? He goes, I don't know.
I did. I was down on the ice level, up on the glass, and you scored, and you came around. You kind of did this look as you came through the line by the bench. You looked around real quick, and there were no hats. And I went over headset, and I said, "Oh, this is sad. Like this is tough," because you could tell there was a little disappointment there.
But the one thing that we should point out is the marketing side smartly did have a plan for later in the game. You had a video ready and everything. Like
yeah,
an
we had
educational,
we had
like, hey, this is what happens in a
educational
hat trick.
piece. It was like, hey, a hat trick
you
is when
scored
someone
too
scores
early.
3 goals, and you just did it very, very quickly. So good for you.
Yeah. So actually, it's your fault, Ty, that you scored too early in the game.
You ruined our plan,
you
man.
did. Yeah, so just so you remember that. Learning about the week that led up to that was always interesting to me because you talked about it when we had the interview after the second period that morning, asking about what changed. You hadn't scored and then you score 3, and you brought it up and said you had a number of pretty lengthy meetings with Tim Army that week about trying to help you create more offense. Clearly something clicked because the offense came. You ended up with 5 points over the weekend. What can you tell us about maybe the positioning, you brought that up, and the things that you were working on that maybe helped illuminate some scoring chances for you?
Yeah, I mean, for me and Coach Army, it was kind of a timing thing. Getting to the net at the right time when the puck was arriving, positioning. I'm a smaller guy, so if I can get body position on a bigger guy early on, I'll have a better chance of winning the battle or getting to the puck first. So. That was kind of the meeting and positioning on the forecheck. Overall, he's got a lot of games in coaching in the NHL. He's coached Hall of Famers, and with him and even Nate and Yonks, they're always here to help, and they want what's best for the team and as for you as a player. So it was it was a good lengthy meeting, and I just try to go out and play my game and just kind of keep those points in my back of my head, and when they were there, it just kind of just play, kind of muscle memory, and just kind of have fun with it too, right? It's hockey. It's what I love to do. I don't want to really do anything else, so go out there and have fun.
The muscle memory, how much muscle memory is in a little juke at the top of the right circle to get a defenseman to bite like that and then rip it to the weak side? We'll have Marquise put that goal over the top of while you're showing it here because I'd love to see it again. It was a beautiful goal.
Left side, backdoor feed, Ronning, holds, fires to the net, he scores!
That's a pretty high-level play. Can you take us back to I think it was the second goal of your hat trick. I mean, the pump fake, the pullback, and the shot. I mean, how do you sort that all out lickety-split like that?
Coming around, getting the puck, having my head up is number one thing, and then kind of seeing the positioning on the defenseman, where his stick is, and just kind of, it's just a play knowing that, if I can pull it inside, I can get a better angle on my shot. And actually, if you watched the warm-ups, I was actually practicing that a little bit in the warm-ups for a couple times. It just kind of clicked and it worked, so I'll take it.
I love those stories. I was working on it in practice, or I was working on it in warm-ups. I love those stories.
Bringing it to life.
Well, that's what it's all about. Yeah. Practice does make perfect at times, and it's you got to put in the work and the effort and just the countless repetition to kind of get some success.
Joey, you got anything wild related you want to get to? Because I want to flip the pages back here and dive deeper into the career of Ty, if that's okay with you. But if you have anything else, I don't want to.
Nope.
I want to keep this moving chronologically.
My big one was the hat trick question, whether or not he was truly disappointed, which I don't think we're going to get an honest answer, which is fine. I think we all know.
We don't
want to
make the kids feel bad. It's not their fault.
No.
They didn't know any better.
They don't know.
You should have played the hat trick informational video earlier. It's actually really it's your fault.
It's probably my fault.
Playing it right away.
It's my fault. It's on me. It's on me.
Joey.
Yeah, that's my fault, everybody. Sorry about that. We can dive back earlier in the career because I got some questions about some things that happened in Vancouver and then stuff like that. So let's go for it.
I've been told to specifically ask you about your final year with the Vancouver Giants and how many goals you scored.
Who asked that?
I can't. I won't reveal that. But I've been told
Probably
specifically to ask you about that.
Was with a good group of teammates, and the puck was following me around that year. I ended up scoring 61 goals. It was it was a lot. I was an overage, 20 years old, so had a little bit more confidence and experience in the league, and the pucks were following me, and it was kind of cool. A lot of shots.
Set a franchise record that year for goals, I believe, in a single season as well. Yep. I can say that. You won't say that.
Yeah.
Very modest.
Yes. I have to really drag it out of you here, which is a good thing. The other thing that year that stands out to me, and I know Joey's going to want to ask about this too, the WHL Humanitarian of the Year award.
Yeah.
And looking up more on that, finding quotes from you and finding some of the reasons why you were able to get there. The story that jumped out to me was fan sends in some fan mail for you, and instead of just writing him back or sending him a hockey card or something like that, you showed up at his front door with a Giants jacket.
Yeah.
Where does that come from with you? Because it was the one thing right away here. You came in and you said, hey, Ben, hey, Joey, I want to be a part of the community events. Get me involved. Not everybody does that. Why do you do that?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it does feel good to kind of put some smiles on some faces, and with that story, it was just kind of a letter I got, and it was written from Burnaby, BC's, where I kind of grew up and down the block from my house. So I thought, hey, I got some Giants gear. Why not kind of bring it by? And instead of mailing back the cards, I thought I could just kind of roll up and knock on the door and give them a jacket and some stuff. So yeah, it was kind of cool. I'm pretty grateful and honored to be a Humanitarian of the Year that year. I think that was kind of the biggest prize and award for me throughout my career so far. I think that's kind of the top of the top because it means a lot. And, obviously you don't want to be kind of, always, I got this, I got Humanitarian, but I mean, it's pretty cool. It's something special.
Well, I can say it is very special, and it's an extremely humbling reward, I'm sure, for you to put in a lot of effort like that and then to be celebrated in the way that you were. And to dive even deeper, to pull another layer off the onion, have you always been that way? Is it something that just sort of happened that year? Like, where does this come from inside the mind of Ty Ronning, that spirit that you have, that spirit of giving? Because it's very obvious to us very early on that you have it, and clearly the WHL thought so as well.
Yeah, I think just growing up, watching my dad play, he was always a kind-hearted person, and I think during the off-seasons, he used to run hockey schools, cliff running hockey schools, and donate some of the money to charity and whatnot, and just being around and seeing certain fans come up and want his autograph and whatnot, and he would do a little bit of extra, so it was, I don't know, that was kind of cool. So just watching that kind of developed, and it makes me happy putting a smile on someone else's face, and even going to the hospital this year with Hiccups was pretty cool and rewarding. So to do more of that would be awesome.
Yeah. My questions on Humanitarian of the Year, Ben took right out of my mouth, so he kind of covered that, which good on you. But you mentioned your dad, and your dad played over 1,000 games in the National Hockey League, spent time with Minnesota. I mean, for you, probably growing up around the rink, in the locker room, was being a hockey player like Dad something you always wanted to do?
Yeah. At first, other people would come and ask me, are you going to be a hockey player like your dad? And then I would say, at the time I wasn't skating, so I'd say no. And then kept getting asked that question. I was like, Mom, I really want to play. So my mom put me into hockey, and as my dad was playing, and then slowly skated. I could rollerblade before I could walk, actually. So that was kind of a cool, neat thing. But rollerblade around the kitchen. But just started in Burnaby Winter Club, and just, my dad was like my superhero, and just kind of always wanted to kind of play hockey and be like him. So, I mean, it's some big shoes to fill, of course, but it's also my own journey, and hockey is what I love to do.
I was going to ask on that, having a NHL hockey dad, that can mean a lot of different things. It can mean a guiding light. It can also mean a shadow. Have you felt both sides of that at all, or has it mainly been, like you said, your father is the superhero that he is, and it's nothing that he did or didn't do, but just sometimes having a father like that, it can play on both sides of the fence, can it?
I could see what you're saying with my dad had a very big career, and here's his son. If he wasn't doing well, the maybe media or whatnot can kind of take some criticism towards him. Easy target. But for me, I mean, go to my dad for advice, and he's played through it. He's been through it, so it's a little bit different. I've grown up in the dressing rooms. You see how important culture is and things like that. I mean, I've always had the last name Ronning on my back, and it's it's not going to get taken away from me. So, I learned to kind of enjoy it, and if there's chirps or this and that, I mean, it's that's them. I am who I am. So, yeah.
How was he as a mentor for you? Was he someone who, after games, you guys sit in the car and you break everything down, or was it I'm gonna let you do your thing and I'm here if you need me?
My dad's he's pretty relaxed. I mean, growing up, I remember some parents that are pretty crazy.
Yeah, we've all seen
especially
them.
nowadays. Yeah, like it's nutty. But yeah, my dad's he's a thinker. He thinks in different ways of the game, and he can see the ice, and he remembers numbers and curves. Their curve, exactly what it looks like, and their number. So if you ask him any hockey player, he'll tell you like their curve, the number.
That's a crazy talent.
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah, and so he used to always look up defensemen and who he was going against. He already knew so and so's left-handed, so it would be force him to the backhand. Weird things like that. My dad's a thinker. And he's a smart hockey mind. So it's nice to have on my side, of course, if I'm asking him things or whatnot. Was he super hard on me? To an extent. It wasn't like crazy. It was what's the word? A good balance.
Sure.
So yeah, it's always has been a good balance. He's probably one of my best friends, and it's pretty cool to have a dad that played hockey and to the career that he had.
Is a little bit more special being able to play for an organization that he also spent time in?
Yeah, so it was, it was a little different coming from the New York Rangers, where my father was playing with the Canucks at the time in '94, where they lost the Stanley Cup to the Rangers. So that was kind of, it became my dad's, most hated team to his favorite team, and then now it's, Minnesota, of course, growing up, going to the dressing room, I remember, having a rink in my backyard when Minnesota, because that was kind of a neat, cool thing to do. Yeah.
When your dad was in Minnesota, were you in Minnesota? Was the family in Minnesota as well?
Yeah.
Where'd you guys live?
We lived, Brentwood. I was young. I want to say, it was in Minnesota. It was a part of Minnesota, not in St. Paul. But yeah, I forget the city.
Yeah, so the Twin Cities area. Yeah, Minneapolis, St. Paul. I was just always curious. You never quite know with some guys, especially if your dad was only there a year. Sometimes families will stay, especially if there's young kids involved. So I was curious to ask and know we have Minnesota listeners. So I figured if there's anybody, they'll know, hey, the Ronings were living in the Minneapolis, St. Paul area at one point. Another question, not about your dad, but sort of not about your dad. Locker rooms that you got to be in early, you talk about the culture that you got to see. Mm-hmm. Do you remember ever getting to walk in and meet a certain teammate or person that your dad was playing with or against and just going, whoa, I'm getting to meet this guy?
That happened a little bit later in I guess his career is more retired at that time. We were doing some charity games, and there was some big names. And Jerome McGinley was one of them, Duncan Keith, and I was just seeing him, I was like, oh, wow, that's pretty cool. And I got to meet Mike Modano and, of course, Wayne Gretzky and some big names. Got to play with Wayne as well, which was pretty neat.
It's really neat. That's more than pretty neat.
Yeah, that was a cool.
Did you set him up for a goal? Did he set
you
up or something?
He flicked a puck over my head, and it came right on my stick. It was pretty neat.
Unbelievable.
It was a charity game, Gaza Ranch, Coeur d'Alene, in Idaho. It was pretty cool. Yeah.
What do you remember coming out of a very successful Vancouver Giants career and transitioning into pro? Because a lot of your teammates here in Iowa on a very young team are currently in the midst of doing that right now. On the ice and off the ice, what do you remember about that time when you were coming into the Hartford Wolfpack?
Yeah, just realizing how important it is to take care of the body. The body breaks down, and as you get older, it becomes even more important. You can kind of get away with a little bit of things when you're younger. The stretching after games, the cycling after games, and flushing out the legs. But just seeing other pros and doing what they do, like Stephen Fogarty. I was there in Hartford, and I was actually there for his first year when I was, 19 or whatnot, or 20. I came after my junior career and played 12 games up, and just seeing guys like that, he's always on the ball. He's got his routines after games. He takes care of his body and does the little things to kind of help propel him to the next level. As a younger guy, it's just listening, being all ears. There's a thing. The reason why you have one mouth and two ears. I think being a sponge and absorbing a lot of information at times and just kind of realizing what's around and going from there.
Was there a welcome to pro hockey moment for you that you remember thinking back, whether it was something someone did or a hit you took or any type of a moment where you went, okay, so this is what the American Hockey League is like?
Yeah, I mean, my first couple of years were different. It was different. I was playing not a lot of minutes, at certain times told, you get over certain amount of seconds on a shift, you're not going to play the rest of the game. It was a lot difficult and at times to take, and it's kind of structurally different. I got sent down to the East Coast and really had to climb my way back and fight. And it was constant kind of up and down, a little bit of a roller coaster, and learning to kind of control the emotions and control your mind, because at the end of the day, the mind is the most powerful thing. And I work with a sports psychologist, Dr. Saul Miller, and he actually worked with my dad before, way back. He's worked with a lot of players, and I think that was the biggest thing, just trying to understand, because I came from junior and then AHL and then to the East Coast and then back up and then back down. It was tough, a lot to handle, and just kind of fighting your way back and trying to understand that it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Not that I'm going to take any of Dr. Miller's advice here that he would get paid to use and try to give it away for free, but for any younger listeners, viewers that might be watching this, what are maybe some of the sports psychology takeaways that you have that you think every hockey player should know?
It's ABCs, things you do well that are your game. So for me, I move my feet, I'm quick to pucks, and I shoot the puck. I would categorize that as my game. And as I'm doing my visualization, I kind of imagine that and work with it. It's creating a good focus and a good feeling. That's another thing Dr. Saul Miller talks about in his books and talks with me about is having a good focus and a good feeling, and separation by preparation, and that's separating yourself by preparing the night before and such.
I don't want to jump too far ahead in case you got anything else Hartford-wise, but you mentioned Stephen Fogarty. You also spent a lot of time in Hartford with Mike O'Leary. Coming over here to Iowa with those two guys, did it make it easier? Has the transition been easier for you, knowing that you had a couple guys you're very familiar with?
Yeah. See, Mike's such a good guy. We sat next to each other in the locker room in Hartford, and then we come here. It makes it easier for sure. What guy, and it was kind of exciting, first day of school feeling. And you got a buddy there that's doing the same thing, so it was pretty nice. And of course Steven played against him last year, but played with them prior years, and same kind of thing.
What can you tell me about chopping wood?
This is Mike O'Leary.
I was going to say I had to follow up after talking about him. I had to.
Chopping wood. He likes to think I chop wood when I get angry on the ice and whatnot, and I feel like I get a cheap shot. And I'm learning to control my temper, but I like to hack at ankles when the ref isn't looking or whatnot. But sometimes you got to be careful. You don't want to get taken a penalty. Almost had one this year. But overall, chopping wood is just, I don't know. I don't like to start things, but I'll try and finish things in a way. So.
Under the radar.
Under the radar.
Yeah, under the radar.
I was about to ask, where's the best spot on the ankle to get to, but I don't want to make you sound too villainous.
It's actually up here. No.
Ben, we were playing in a wall game, and Ben had a similar comment.
This is men's league, by the way.
Yeah, not like a chopping wood thing, but he was like I think the quote was, if he wants to go at it, we can go at it. He goes, I know all the soft spots.
Back of the knee, top of the foot.
Top of the foot's a good one.
Yeah,
right
you
down
rattle
the
them
back
off.
of the pants.
You rattle them off.
Yeah, there's some good little spots you can go after, and these guys know more of them than I do. But, Ty, this has been just great. Joey, anything else you wanted to get to while we get a Ty here?
Yeah, just a couple kind of off the ice kind of Iowa questions. I mean, obviously you've been here a couple months now. What are some of your favorite go-to spots here in the city? Are there any places, any restaurants that you fallen in love with yet?
Yeah, I mean, Des Moines is such a clean city. It's really nice. Looking at restaurants and whatnot. Luca, actually, in East Village, really good spot.
Dynamite.
That's where Kramer kind of took some of the boys. There's I think Zombie Burger is another decent one. I like that spot. Fresco.
Yep.
Yep. For me personally, I like to cook a lot. So when I'm going out, it's a special day, but I like to cook at home and whatnot. But Luca's a really good Italian spot.
So there's follow-up questions coming now,
Yeah,
Joey.
so what's, if you're, I mean, I like to cook in the kitchen as well. I mean, is there like a Tyroning specialty? Like if you gotta make a meal to impress somebody, what are we whipping up?
Yeah, so my mom's Italian, and so it's tough to beat with her cooking. But just learning from her and whatnot, like a pasta fagioli, a pasta bean dish that I really enjoy. It's kind of like a stew. I like to cook salmon, chicken, all kinds of meats. But I'm more of a pasta guy. If anybody was to ask, I'm definitely a guy trying to make certain sauces and just kind of whip up some pasta.
Do you make your own pasta?
I haven't here, but I have before with a little bit of flour, egg, and just a touch of water. Yeah.
We should do I feel like we'd have enough guys. I mean, Hickett's is talking about it.
We
should do we should do a cookbook.
Well, I went to Joey's last night for dinner, and he made these ribs, and they were unbelievable.
We've talked about that before with Marquise.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
He told Marquise he's got to give him the recipe.
It's the Traeger, I think he just got, or whatever it's called. It's a smoker.
Yeah.
And they were dynamite. So I was really impressed. He's a good cook.
He really talks those things up too. He'll tell you how good they are.
But he backs it up too. I'm telling you, it's good.
Yeah.
If you're gonna talk him up that much, you better be able to back it up.
Yep.
If Tyroning wasn't playing hockey for a living, what would you be doing?
Never really thought about that in ways. I've always kind of something with hockey for sure, or a teacher, a PE teacher, or personal trainer. I like fitness. I like movements. But I would say definitely something with hockey, maybe a coach or whatnot. I like certain systems and learning why, because now the game's kind of becoming more of somewhat of a chessboard and structurally, and I kind of like that aspect of the game.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, wraps it up for me.
That's good for me.
Right on.
Ty, this has been just terrific. Really walking away, not that I didn't already know this, but you're a very inquisitive person, and I respect that,
thanks.
and I think it plays into your game as well, and it's clearly led to some early success, and we'll look forward to seeing more of that. Thanks so much for joining us, and obviously we're looking forward to watching you continue to get that 77 rolling out there for the Iowa Wild.
Right on. Thank you very much, guys. Appreciate it.
That was a good clap.
Good clap?
Nobody's going to hear that, but that was a good clap.
Was it a good clap?
Yeah, Ben just had a good clap to kick off period 3 here on the Ridin the Bus podcast. Huge shout out to Tyroning.
Yeah.
Just, I mean, #awesome dude. Like, he's just a good guy, great guy for the locker room, doing a lot for us, going to do a lot for us in the community. It was cool hearing some of those stories, what he had to talk about. I like the chopping wood bit. That was one of my favorites.
I loved the thinking side, talking about his dad, Cliff, but also you could tell he's the same way.
Yeah.
I mean, the bit about his dad, how he'd memorize players' curves.
Yeah.
I mean, those little vignettes of people that have reached the highest level of, doesn't matter what sport it is, but those little details that the only way to learn these details is to talk to somebody who either is the person or is close to the person, obviously Ty being Cliff's son, but those things to me just fascinate me, those little nuances that make all the difference. I mean, think about how I'd imagine thousands of plays that Cliff Ronning made in his career that he made based off of knowing that this person was a right-handed shooter and had this curve, this pattern. So to me, that was really, really interesting. And as I said at the end, I said how inquisitive he is. He's an inquisitive guy. He's curious. He's a thinker. The bit on him and Tim getting together and talking about all the different positioning things he could do to get to plays quicker and then it panning out. I love that. The warm-up comment, too, where he's sitting, I was working on that play in warm-ups. Again, you could probably rewind it and watch me smile. I'm like, oh, yes, I love those little things, man.
It's
I love
cool.
that.
And even not a lot of guys will talk about it, but the sports psychology side of it and sitting down with someone who helps the mental side of the game, I don't know if, and it's certainly not something to be ashamed of, but a lot of guys just don't I don't know if guys just don't do it or guys just don't openly talk about it, but it was cool to hear about how, he talked, and it was the same guy his dad worked with. So like, it's nice to have those people in your corner, those people in your entourage, if you will, to kind of help you out.
Yeah, fabulous stuff from Ty Ronning. A big thanks to him for giving us some time. And with that, we dismount. We move into the third period of our podcast, and we're excited about the bet that we have.
Yeah, let's save that to the very end.
Am I putting the cart before the horse?
Let's just save it till the very end because we'll
dangle that out in front of people now.
We are excited about that, but we have so much happening in the next couple weeks.
Yeah, good call.
Sure. Yeah. So we got, first and foremost, our Veterans Appreciation Night's coming up on Friday. So when you guys are listening to this coming Friday is Veterans Appreciation Night. We've got these awesome camo specialty jerseys, which are different than any camo we've had in the past couple of years. Hopefully by now we've shared a photo of those. I think we're just waiting for them to arrive. But
that's your department. It's your department, isn't it?
Half and half at this point. I think at this point in the process, it's half and half. But we're hoping to be able to show those off. We do have a hat giveaway, the camo hat giveaway for the first 1,500 fans in the building. That camo pattern on the hat is identical to what you're going to see on the jersey, so you'll be able to match the guys. Jerseys are going to be auctioned off. If you are listening to this now, the auction is already live. It started yesterday and will close at the end of the second intermission on Friday during the game. And new this year, now that protocols have kind of loosened up, I guess not new, we're bringing it back. If you win a player's jersey, so if you win Ty Ronning's jersey and you're here at the game, you're going to be able to come down after the game, snap a photo with Ty, and have him sign it for you on the spot.
Love that.
It is going to be relatively quick because you guys are busing immediately after to Milwaukee.
Yes.
So you are going to shuffle people through pretty quickly, but it's just an extra incentive to win those jerseys. So I think we're going to end up having 25 or so jerseys in this online auction. And then we'll have 4 jerseys in a blind auction. So you've got to be in the building to be eligible to win some of those jerseys. And there's some bigger names in that pool as well. So if you're in the online auction, you're saying, oh, how come so-and-so's not here? How come I don't see his jersey? There's a good chance they're in the blind auction. And if you want action on that, you've got to be here on Friday to get that. But it's going to be awesome. We're going to be recognizing vets all throughout the night. Jerseys are going to benefit the ALS Association. We'll have a veteran doing puck drop. We've got a veteran for Hero of the Game. Like you said, constant recognition. So it's going to be awesome. It's going to be exciting. And it's $2 beer night. So come on, kick things off with us, kick the weekend off right. And that is our third and final home game for November. However, we have 9, count them, 9 home games in December. And, good, nice.
Good math.
And there's a lot. We've got things happening just about every night. I mean, we've got WWE night. We've got our first of 2 Pucks and Paws games. We have Teddy Bear Toss. We have Video Game night. We have 2 Winning Wednesday games. We have Star Wars night. And then we have our New Year's Eve celebration where we're going to do post-game fireworks after the game to kind of close out 2022 with everybody. So there's a lot happening. There's giveaways in there. There's going to be more mystery pucks. A lot of fundraising. And we kind of talked about it with I think at the beginning. It goes by so quick.
Oof. And
we're gonna blink, and it's gonna be 2023, and then we do another 8 home games in January. So and then we get to Ben's favorite month of the year, February.
Yeah,
so
February.
It's gonna be busy, but grab your tickets. There's a lot of fun, exciting things. We are working on something pretty big too that we haven't announced yet, but hoping to roll something pretty major out in the next couple weeks.
I'm not even sure I know what you're talking about.
You probably don't.
Wow.
But I'll cue you in when we turn the camera off. But we got some cool things coming up,
I'm
hopefully. So
let's get to the end of this podcast. I gotta know what's going on.
But grab your tickets, come on out, bring family, bring friends. There's no better time to come on out than these quote unquote hockey months. You're getting December, January, football's over. It's gonna start getting cold out. Come hang out at the rink with us. We got a good team. They're starting to hit their stride. There's a lot of fun things coming, so definitely come on out and enjoy that. And with that, that's my spiel on what's coming down the pipe for December.
It was excellently done. It was done like you'd created the promo schedule yourself.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I had some help.
I
But
know, but
I've looked at it enough.
Done like somebody that's got. It's like when someone asked me about like travel dates, right?
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, I got them all.
Scary. I'm at the
borrowed
point.
in.
I went the other day and I just rattled off like I was doing something. And I was just rattling off. I was like, all right, we got this game, this game, this game. I went through the whole schedule and I knew every date off the top of my head, which is just when you look at it so many times, it's a scary thing. It's kind of a cool thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like how much space.
Cliff Ronning knows stick curves. I know home game dates. Good for me for knowing when our team is playing, when I need to be here. Good.
That's good. It'd be weird if you knew stick patterns.
Yeah.
That wouldn't make sense.
I don't even know my own stick pattern.
Yeah, I'm not sure I know mine anymore either. In any event, I didn't know we had a Star Wars night this year. I thought that was in the second. Really good
that was in the
news for me.
second wave of rollouts, so you might have missed that one.
Yeah.
The second wave
That's
of
really
rollouts
good
was
news
Star
for
Wars
me.
night. Iowa Hawkeye night was one. We had some good ones.
That's really good. That's very, very good. I'm excited about that because then I get to have all my puns and have all my fun on the broadcast.
Yep.
Good. To finish, now we do get to what we really think is one of maybe the climax of our show here, because we've had some bets this year. Some have been great. Some have fallen flat. You don't hit home runs on all of them.
No.
This one we really do.
I like what you did there with the home run thing, because we did the home run derby, and that wasn't intentional. I know what you just did, but I thought that was kind of funny.
Losing's not
Ben's
fun.
over. Ben is over. He's not won a bet yet.
I don't feel good about this one either.
See, but this one, I think this is Ben's best chance so far.
No, my best chance was the goals in the summer league hockey. That was I
disagree.
I put my own abilities on the line. And I failed myself.
All right.
So that was what I thought.
I think
was my
this
best
is your
chance.
best chance, and I think a lot of people listening would say this might be the best chance as well. Here's the deal. This Thanksgiving night, the New England Patriots, my New England Patriots, play the Minnesota Vikings. Your Minnesota Vikings.
They're not mine. I cheer for them.
Yes, they are.
I cheer for them. They're not
They're
mine.
yours.
I'm not Ziggy Wolf. I don't own the team.
Okay. All right, fine. Ben cheers for them. I cheer for the Patriots. So he's going to cheer for the Vikings on Thanksgiving night. I'm going to cheer for the Patriots on Thanksgiving night.
Thank you.
And we're just going to go straight up. The winning team is you don't want to lose this one. Here's what's going to happen. If you lose, and there's going to be video that comes with this, which is really the best part of it all, the loser is going to have to strap up in goalie gear. And one day after practice coming up, if we can find a date, it might have to be something over at the Recplex, just given the ice availability and whatnot. But loser's going to have to strap up in goalie gear after practice, and they will hop into the crease between the pipes, and they are not allowed to leave the ice until they stop 3 penalty shots. Seems pretty easy, right? Pretty basic. Not so fast, my friend. Not so fast. The shooters are going to be whoever in this locker room decides they want to participate. So we could be there for a very, very long time, potentially.
It's very possible. We hope we aren't, because then we'll run into problems with videos being too long for Twitter and Instagram. There's a limit, right?
Marquise can do his magic. He can cut things up. Yeah, but it's going to be fun. It's whoever's in net's going to be mic'd up. The other person will be mic'd up probably at the blue line. This idea initially came together. We were watching the Minnesota Wild game, watching Mason Shaw do his thing, and Ben was like, "Oh, well, what if we're the shooters?" And we said, "No. What if the players are the shooters?" So I guess if I'm in net, if you want to shoot, you're more than welcome to.
I said we had to block a one-timer from somebody, and then we both thought that's way.
Did you?
Yeah,
I missed that.
I said that.
I missed that.
Yeah, my initial thought was to take a Mitchell Chafee one-timer. You had to go down and block it, but then I'm like, we're gonna wind up in the hospital.
We might wind up in the hospital.
We might, but the chances
is hysterically laughing behind the camera right now.
The chances to me extremely subdue when you put pads on compared to just we're wearing our and we go out to block a Chafee shot. More guys get hurt blocking shots than goal. Although, and I shouldn't say that because most goalies are experienced enough to know what they're doing. I am not. I could very well hurt myself.
Someone's gonna hurt themselves. There's a good chance you're gonna see this on camera and someone's gonna pop a groin or pull a hamstring or something. I might throw out my back. I don't know. But hey, we're here for the content, so it's gonna happen. It's gonna be awesome. We got Tim Army's green light.
He liked
his
it
blessing.
too. Yeah,
he loves
he
the
lit
idea.
up. Yeah, he was brimming thinking about it.
I'm excited for this one. Honestly, I do want the Patriots to win, obviously. But if there's one that I think would be a lot of fun to lose, this might be
good.
It.
Then
but
I don't want to lose. I don't want to do this.
But this could be something where we look back in a couple weeks and I'm like, I said this was going to be fun. This was the worst experience of my life. So I don't know. I think either way, for whoever's doing it, not doing it, it's going to be fun because we're both going to be mic'd up.
Yeah.
We'll be at the blue line. We'll be able to talk with the guys a little bit to see, what's the move, what's coming up here. I think this is what Ben's going to do. I think he's going to try to stack the pads, or I think he's going to try to poke check or just do something crazy. I don't know. But it's going to be a lot of fun. So be on the lookout for that one. And, I mean, you guys will know Thanksgiving night who the loser is going to be. And I don't know. If you see us at the games in early December, let us know. Give us some tips what we should do strategy-wise if we're the goalie. How should we defend these guys? Because we don't have any idea.
The Vikings fans, if there are any that are listening to this podcast or watching this podcast right now, they're feeling what I'm feeling, and that is, why would you ever put your personal safety on the line when it comes to needing a Vikings win?
But have you? Yeah. See, this is where I disagree with you though, because you haven't watched the Patriots game yet.
I watched one with you.
It was terrible.
It was terrible. So was the Vikings game going on at the same time
but the Vikings are
simultaneously
good.
against the Dolphins.
The Patriots are true. They're not good. They kick field goals, Ben. Your team scores touchdowns. There is a difference. I think we're in trouble in that one. I don't know. Marquise, innocent, not. You're a Ravens fan. You got no side to pick here. In your mind, who's got the upper edge? Throw the headset on.
Throw the headset on.
Just let us know what you think, because I think
probably doesn't go that far. There you go.
Yeah, what do you got? Because you're a football guy. Marquise played football. He
Yeah,
knows.
that's true.
Who's got the upper hand? Give us the breakdown from your point of view.
Can you see me? I'm in there.
No.
Okay, good.
You're under the monitor.
From your point of view, who's got the upper hand here?
Well, I'm going to say the Vikings, because you have to think Justin Jefferson is probably better than anybody on the Patriots.
Fact.
Dalvin Cook's probably better than anybody
That's
on
a
the
fact.
Patriots.
Also fact.
Now TJ Hawkinson is better than probably most of the guys on the Patriots.
You're not wrong.
And, I mean, Daniil Hunter's a stud on defense. And, I mean, Patriots have Judon, who's leading the league in sacks right now.
He is good, but
that's going to get you so far when you're playing against Justin Jefferson.
Okay. Well, I feel better.
you should
Having an
feel
actual football mind say that.
But also, the
Actual football
inevitable
mind.
Vikings demise is always it's
good.
imminent.
And that's what worries Ben. That the imminent
inevitable-
demise is
yeah.
what worries Ben.
The inevitable disappointment of Minnesota fans. It's going to happen at some point, but I mean, I don't think it'll happen on Thanksgiving. I think that'll more be like
It could be too soon. It could be too soon for
You know what
it.
also helps with it? It's like the Thanksgiving games are always interesting because Thanksgiving is a time to be around family. The Patriots are going on the road. They're playing in Minnesota, which is just a huge leg up to the Vikings, I think. It's one of those little things I think goes further than some people think. I don't know. I can't wait to watch it. I'm excited to watch it with, I'll be at home, obviously, watching with my family.
Yeah.
You'll be watching with your family. We will be communicating back and forth throughout, I'm sure. But I'm excited to see how it plays out. This is win or lose, this punishment is my favorite one that we've done yet.
I agree. I do agree with that. It's definitely
It's going to be hard to top this one.
Yeah, it is. We've set the bar high.
Yeah.
We've set the bar high.
Yeah, you guys seen Kirk Cousins with his chain?
Yeah, that was great. I loved it.
Chains?
I loved it.
I mean,
I
I
loved
think the more he puts on, I think the more they're gonna win. So I mean, I think if they keep Kirk chains going,
can we just
through the
put
whole
it? Can we
season-
just put it out here right now? If the Vikings win the Super Bowl, can you do a podcast episode as? Kirk Cousins with
without
the
a
chains?
doubt, I'll
Kirk
do
go
that.
chains.
Yeah, I'll go Kirk.
Ben will
yes.
just be here shirtless
I will
with
do
a
it,
full thing
yes.
of chains.
I will
love
do
it.
that. If
I
the
love
Vikings
it.
win the Super Bowl, absolutely, no question.
Awesome.
I'll make that bet any day. That's
Cool.
There's no
That'll
chance.
be a fun. That's a fun one. Just
There's
like
no
That's a good
chance
one.
that's happening.
I
There's
don't
no
know,
chance
man.
that's happening.
I don't know.
So
You
okay.
also said there were, the
10
going to
goals.
get TJ Hawkinson is not a move that the Vikings would
That's
make,
true.
but they're kind of cashing in right now. So
It's all irrelevant, but we can have fun in this little make believe world that the Vikings are going to win the Super Bowl. We can have fun in this world.
yeah, that's gonna be good. I'm as much as I'm pulling for the Patriots, I am pulling for the Vikings just so we can get that.
So
Skol.
Vikings and Skol. Vikings and Patriots. Thanksgiving night, it'll be a very fun night for a lot of reasons. Obviously, fun to celebrate with family and fun to watch those games. Anything else, Joey, before we put a lid on episode 14?
Yeah, Thanksgiving. Let's talk about it real quick.
Okay.
You got your plate. What's on your Thanksgiving plate? What are your go-tos for Thanksgiving?
Mashed potatoes and gravy for sure. Stuffing, turkey, cranberries of some sorts. I do like the canned cranberry, just like that comes out
with
it comes out in the shape of the inside of the can.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of that. Some sort of roll with butter of some kind. That's green bean casserole,
sure.
something like that along those lines, definitely. Yeah.
What's on your plate, Marquise?
I mean, Ben did a great job. The couple things that he's missing that goes on my plate: Grandma's sweet potatoes, and mac and cheese. I mean, for me, mac and cheese. Just because I'm a huge mac and cheese nut, mac and cheese probably takes up about 50% of the plate. But that's just me. I know that's not everybody, but I love the mac and cheese.
Okay.
So I pretty similar for me. Maybe I'm in the minority on this. I don't know. I think turkey is highly overrated. You're gonna have it on Thanksgiving. I get it, but I think it's meh. It is what it is. But my plate has turkey on it. It's got mashed potatoes. It's got stuffing. My mom makes this cornbread souffle kind of thing. So it's almost like a. It's not cornbread, but it's really good. And then mac and cheese as well is always something that's on my plate.
Mac and cheese.
Mac and cheese became a thing at Thanksgiving in my house because for a while it was the only thing my brother ate. So it just became now it's a staple. It's always there. But we do same thing happens every year for Thanksgiving. We always host it at my house, and we always do heavy appetizers as we're watching football throughout the day. And the meal comes out, and everybody's like, I'm not really that hungry. So we're probably gonna just stock up on food. With the Patriots game being that night game, I think we're going to have the family back over the house the next day. I think a lot of people are staying at hotels in Worcester. Nice. So we'll do breakfast sandwiches with the leftovers and all that kind of stuff, which is exciting. I guess let's round it out. What are you thankful for? What are you thankful for?
Putting me on the spot right away. I mean, I got a million things to be thankful for. Thankful for my wife, definitely. People in this sport, they, especially that work on the side that travels like we do, you won't hear one guy that has a successful marriage, family life at home, not gloat about the way that their wife handles things. And we don't have kids yet. We'd like to at some point, but she really keeps things just solid at home, and you can't. I'd have a hard time doing this job if I was just a single man, for sure. Like the thing she does to keep me centered and keep me anchored throughout the course of the season is pretty special. So yeah, I'll go with her. And again, I got family and etc. I got a lot to be thankful for, but that was the first one that came to mind.
All right.
Yeah.
Marquise?
I'd say the awesome people I get to work with, man. I think the people that work here in the front office and the marketing department, I mean, my job could be a lot harder than it is. Not to say that it's a piece of cake, but
it's not.
It could be a lot harder. So I mean, you got awesome guys like Alec and Travis and Sophie and everybody else that's up there in the marketing office, as well as everybody that's in the rest of the office, the ticket sales and the exec people as well. Really appreciative of, and even my guys over at Trilix. Got to give a shout out to them too, helping me out with everything I need and taking care of me. So yeah, like I said, this job could be a lot harder, but I'm able to make it do with the awesome people I'm around.
Right on.
Yeah, it is. Now that I think about it, it's tough to pick just kind of one thing because there is a lot. Obviously, thankful that I get my family super supportive of what I want to do, even though I haven't lived at home for 8 years. I know that drives them nuts, and they would love for me to be closer to home. I think just the job in general. I think the biggest thing for me, and one thing I'm super thankful for is kind of Marquise alluded to it a little bit, but the team that we've got upstairs in that marketing office, they are rock stars, and I think oftentimes they may not, be at the forefront, be in the limelight, may not get a lot of the credit they deserve, but there are a lot of people up there who are putting in crazy amount of hours, a crazy amount of work to put on a tremendous product, and have fun things for our fans night in and night out. So for Joe, Sophie, Dylan, Jess, Travis, Marquise, Alec, everybody who's kind of up there helping out, huge props to them for everything that they do, all the hard work that they put in. Hopefully it all comes to fruition at the end of the year when we're celebrating some kind of a trophy at some point. So that's what we're hoping for.
Well said. A sentimental end to our journey here on episode 14, and why not? Marquise, Joey, thanks, guys. This has been fun per usual.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving to all the Wild fans out there.
Can I do the sign-off? I've never done the sign-off before.
We could definitely have you do the sign-off. Let's see here. That's it for me. That's it for Joey.
That's it for me.
Thanks to Ty Ronning. Thanks to Marquise for editing this. And Marquise, bring us home.
2 Hawks for the win.